This is definitely meant for partners. Excuse me,
Well, we are
relationship
non-sexual
partners.
soulmates, so like we could get a pass. This is why we did it. See?
Well, you know what? We're business partners slash friends
Yeah.
slash friend soulmates. So anyway, we're just doing it one because I wanted to know what it was like, and two because it seemed like a fun way to talk about our results on an episode.
So fun.
For all of the triggered men on YouTube, we're not lesbians. Whatever, we're just gonna read this report. Welcome back and happy Tuesday, turkeys. How long have we known each other?
We've known each other for 2 decades.
I am not apologizing for who I am or what I like or the people that I love.
How do I be a wife? How do I be a mom? And how do I be myself and all of that? You didn't see that coming, did you?
Good morning, happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day in real life. Hope you all had a
it'll be-
great Valentine's Day a week or two ago.
It will be belated, but I felt like I had to say it because, well, whatever. It's what day it is today. Kayla's making heart hands.
It's coming faster now. The new heart. But you know what's easier? Just going like that.
Oh God, okay. I'm wearing pink. It's very out of character for me. You are too, kind of.
I know, I tried. I put lipstick on a little bit.
We are so on the nose. Okay, well, today will be the last day that we are sucking up to Jordan Peterson. But this was genuinely something we've wanted to do for a while since honestly I saw an Instagram ad of all things. But we talked about this last week. He has his, I don't know, a subsidiary company for a personality test called Understand Myself, which you can find at understandmyself.com. It's only $10. So Kayla and I decided to do it, but then as a fun twist for life, I don't know, you can link your accounts. This is definitely meant for partners. Excuse me.
Well, we are
relationship
non-sexual
partners.
soulmates, so like we could get a pass. This is why we did it. See?
Well, you know what? We're business partners slash friends
Yeah.
slash friend soulmates. So anyway, we're just doing it one because I wanted to know what it was like, and two because it seemed like a fun way to talk about our results on an episode.
So fun.
For all of the triggered men on YouTube, we're not lesbians. Whatever, we're just gonna read this report. It's so funny. Kayla has not seen the combined results yet, just me, and I skimmed them yesterday and I was already cracking up. So, real quick to orient ourselves, the way that he sets this up, what is it? Is it a 10 page questionnaire?
Yes, there's 10 pages of questions that go from like strongly disagree to strongly agree, like 5 different choices.
Yeah, so it's a single statement and then about yourself or a way you behave or a way that you react to things. You can tell obviously that they've built in so you can't cheat. Like there's things that themes repeat themselves to try to gather the information. But it took me like 10 or 15 minutes. It's not overly painful to do. And what they score or give you results on are the big 5 aspect scale. So I'll just read this directly from the website, but the Big 5 aspect scale is a personality assessment that assesses where you stand in comparison to others in the general population on the 5 major traits and their aspects. So the way that they're laid out, there's 5 major aspects and then there's like 2 subcategories of each. So the first one is agreeableness, which is broken down into compassion and politeness, conscientiousness, which is broken down into industriousness and orderliness, extroversion, which is broken down into enthusiasm and assertiveness, neuroticism, which is broken down into withdrawal and volatility, and then openness to experience, which is broken down into intellect and aesthetics. Let me see. I'm just going to read this other part and then I'll get into our details. So in the original Big 5 aspect scale model, the openness factor was entitled openness to experience and its aspects were intellect and openness. For the sake of clarity, we have deviated from this use and use openness or openness to experience to refer to the factor level trait and intellect and aesthetics to refer to its aspects.
Very interesting.
Do you have any like initial thoughts before I get into this?
I don't know what this synced version of this report looks like, so depending on if we miss anything, it would be cool to like go through just the big numbers, but I will say a disclaimer on the intellect because I was slightly offended at first, but then it literally goes into saying this is not reflective of IQ. Intellect is different than IQ, and you can have a really high IQ and still score low on intellect. So Just want to throw that caveat out there because I was a twinge, which you can now see that I scored lower on that category. So I was like, wait, what? I'm not smart, but it's not that same thing.
I also wonder if some of your scores would change when you get to a different phase of parenting.
I already can tell like I'm answering these questions differently than I would have like 5 years ago. But it's
Yeah.
also weird because it's hard to answer some questions where like work is a huge part of our lives, obviously, and there's some things that are different in how I would react in those situations versus my outside of work things. So that was a little harder for me in answering questions because I'm like, for me, it just depends on where I'm at and who I'm
Hmm.
surrounded with. So I think they take that into account, which is why they break it down in so many different categories. But
Yeah.
yeah.
It was interesting when I read through mine. There were things where I thought that's not like me, but then other areas that were right on the nose, and some of my results conflicted with each other,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was kind of interesting. I mean, nothing's perfect, but anyway, this was very fun. So let me share my screen.
Yeah.
Also, for sake of clarity, I connected ours. So when we read this, the you is referring to me and the partner is referring to you.
I'm the partner.
Kayla. You is in Kayla. Okay. Okay, number one. So agreeableness. Oh, here, let's
Wow.
define it. Let's define it.
Okay.
Agreeableness is a big five personality trait associated with how people weigh their own interest against those of others. Simply put, agreeableness is how much you pay attention to and care about other people's feelings, needs, and desires. Agreeable people are kind, nurturing, compliant, and trusting. Disagreeable people are competitive, tough, blunt, and skeptical. Personality psychologists have determined that there are two separable aspects of agreeableness: compassion and politeness. Compassion is about sensitivity to others' needs and caring for people, while politeness is about sensitivity to others' wants, attending to social norms, and pleasing others. Okay, so no surprise, I am very high in agreeableness.
And I'm so not. I'm mid. I'm perfectly in the middle.
Oh, yeah, you are an exact 50. So,
Wow.
also to kind of explain, the way that they do this again is compared to other, like, to 100 people. So, in a room of 100 people, apparently I would be more agreeable than 85 of them and less agreeable than 14, and you would be right smack in the middle with 49 and 50 people.
My gosh.
Okay, so
This
I'm
makes
gonna.
sense though, does it not?
This makes so much sense. I was
Because
struggling a little bit because I was like, I am a skeptical little turd. Like you said, I was struggling with my work self and my outside self.
yeah. Which, and again, the Libra in me, there's going to be a pretty distinct pattern on mine. There's a few areas where I sway, but for me as a Libra, and also, what is it? I think I'm a 9 Enneagram, which is like the peacemaker. I'm like very in the middle. I'm very indecisive. So some of these answers, there's like strongly disagree, neutral, not sure. There was a lot of answers where I'm like, I'm not sure because it depends. And so I'm freaking like just I don't know. I'm mid all the time.
As I was reading this, I was thinking of you too. Like when I was doing my answers, I was like, oh,
Hmm.
I think I know how Kayla would answer this. Okay, let's read the implications of agreeableness as a couple, slash, in our case, as friends. You are high in agreeableness, and your partner, Kayla, is typical in agreeableness. So this means the two of you have somewhat different strategies for dealing with the world, which can be beneficial. However, this may present a challenge because you may have trouble understanding one another at times. See, the difference is not very big. So you will differ very slightly in your account of others and how concerned you are with the emotional state of your partner, as well as your opinions of other people and your interpretation of their motives. You can use your differences to your advantage, each helping one another to develop the virtues of the opposite trait, which I thought was funny. Also, so then it says it says will be a little blunter, tougher, and more stubborn, as well as more likely to push things forward in the way that he or she wants them, which is funny because I feel like I'm fairly aggressive in that manner.
No, it's interesting. It's very interesting.
Very interesting. There's so much, so I'm
I
not
also
gonna
feel
read too
like
much of
you
it.
have, even when you are that kind of person, you have a, I don't know if it's your job or your skill set, but you have a way of delicately doing things. So maybe you come off as more agreeable, even though you are blunt and stubborn and like strong willed sometimes. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't think I have vocabulary to come off like I just come off a little sharper sometimes. And then sometimes I just don't say anything because I'm like,
When I was reading this, I think it said these people tend to be more naive and overly trusting, which I was, like you said, with your intellect, I got highly offended. But then I realized I think that is my baseline. I have become much less trusting because of my work
yeah, that makes
or
sense.
previous work. But I think you're right. I do push my agenda, but through an agreeable lens.
You do, but that's a good thing. I don't know how to do that.
Okay, I'm not going to read into some of these aspects because we're obviously not having children together. This would be so, seriously, this would be so helpful for an actual couple.
Interesting.
Okay. The next section is compassion. So, simply put, it's a measure, of a person's orientation toward the interests and needs of others as opposed to their own interests and needs. People who score higher in compassion are more interested in the concerns of other people, more likely to be described as caring and kind, and often have difficulty advocating on their own behalf. People who score lower in compassion are less interested in the concerns of other people and less likely to be described that way. They are usually very comfortable at advocating on their own behalf. This is hysterical. Again, let me do the reveal. I'm realizing a lot of these are my baseline traits and that I have been pushed into what's it called? So Kaylee scored in the first percentile, which is not surprising because I am
No,
in
it's
a
not.
healthcare field. And
Exactly.
Kayla was 55th, right
My
smack
God.
in the middle again.
I know. I don't know what that says about me. I don't know.
I don't think it says anything bad. I think it's why you're not in a human services field. But also, it's not like you're a curmudgeon. This is one of the ones I was thinking for you that could change because I think right now your time is so limited and you have less space to deal with other people because you are taking up a lot of your emotional bandwidth at home with a young kid.
Yeah. Yeah. And even within my job, it's like by the end of the day and after my family, there's like nothing left. So I do feel like having a kid and the time lapse may change things because it definitely dictates a lot of my personality right now, I think. Or maybe how it comes out, I guess, or how I
Yeah.
can use my personality.
Yeah. I could
So
see that.
funny.
I
So
know. I was
funny.
laughing.
I had a feeling a lot of these you were going to be higher on. And I don't know why. Maybe it is just because I mean, I don't know.
I think this is really, I mean, we've always talked about this. I think we do have complementary personalities.
Oh,
So I'm
yeah.
not surprised that ours are not, I did
The
not
same.
expect us to be the same. I don't think any of ours
Either.
are highly incompatible, which also tracks, but definitely there's some differences. Because I know for sure I would never want to do your job in numbers landia. And I
I
know
would
for sure
never
you
want to
would
do
never
your
want to
job.
do my job.
Exactly.
Let's see. This may present problems in your relationships at times, although your difference is not very big. That seems to be the common theme, is our
Yeah.
difference is not very big. So this says that I'm more likely to be conflict averse because I would not want to cause negative emotions in my partner, which is funny as I'm reading this and like this is actually is how I behave in my marriage. And Kayla, quote, my partner slash friend, is likely to be capable of engaging in conflict and he or she will be a bit less concerned about causing negative emotions.
This reminds me of a very specific time in our life where I made a phone call and I'm gonna end it there. I don't know why I do the things that I do.
This is so funny. Okay. The next aspect is politeness. So, politeness is an aspect of agreeableness. Simply put, it is a measure of a person's obedience, deference to authority, and their sensitivity to social norms. And this is where it says, like, if you score higher in this, you're more conflict averse, which, again, none of these results are surprising to me. I was, the other one talking about having difficulty advocating for yourself. That was definitely a problem for me that I had to work on.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
now that I've been taken advantage of in an old job, I think I definitely have much higher skills in advocating for myself and saying no. But this thing was dead on that my baseline is to. So politeness, I scored in the 65th percentile. I was not an overachiever on this one.
No, not bad.
And Kayla, you were in the 45th. So this might be our closest one so far.
Yeah, we're just straddling the midline here.
I feel like this fits for you because I think you are polite, but I think you're less concerned with if you and I went to a restaurant and our order was cold or something gross happened, I think you would be the one to say something.
I would 100% be, but I will give a caveat to all the people, and I love my dad. He tries to be nice, but it doesn't come off very nice. I'm overly nice because I am asking for it to be sent back or whatever it is. Like, Kenny's the same way. He will never, oh, the burger is so underdone. He's just not going to eat it. I'll be like, sorry. Like, there's a way to present it, but 100% I
Yeah.
would do that.
And if you weren't there, I would still do it.
Yes, but I would
But
probably jump on it faster.
yes, I would be like, if you're there, you go for it. If it were me and one of my other friends that is probably in the 100th percentile of politeness, I would be like, no,
Yeah.
listen, I got it.
Yep. It's so funny. See, that's where it's like environmental circumstances. I feel like who you're with and where you are would kind of dictate where I fall into this on a day-to-day basis. So funny.
I think it's probably accurate that I would be a little more internally like, heh. I might have more like schmeagles to get over to do that than you would. I think both of us would be equally kind.
Yes.
I just think you maybe are not quite as much of a rule follower. Actually, I know that that is true.
Which is funny because I
Excuse
grew
me.
up a very much a rule follower, and I think I've deviated because now I question authority in a polite way.
You do. And I think you've rubbed off on me, as has the world, which is why I'm not at 100.
Yep.
Let's see. So I'm typical and you're typical. There
Yep.
you go. We're both
Nice.
typical. So we align closely in the aspect of politeness. So we should be very easy to understand each other's thoughts, interests, and ideas with this aspect. We are both equally obedient and disobedient, and also equally concerned and unconcerned with social norms. We can both defer to authority and usually be reasonably obedient, although not above the average. And we will both be fairly comfortable challenging authority when we see that it is necessary. You should also be able to stand up to each other when necessary. Yeah, that doesn't really happen because, again, we're not married. That totally tracks.
So
okay, this
funny.
one, conscientiousness. All of these are so entertaining to me. I love a personality test.
I know, dude. It just helps me understand, like, oh, this is why I am the way I am.
Yeah. Conscientiousness, I am in the 80th percentile and you are in the 59th. We're still
Okay.
close.
Yeah.
We stay within like 20 points of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what this means. This is associated with attention to detail, hard work, persistence, and orderliness, as well as adherence to rule standards and processes. Conscientious people are careful, reliable, organized, self-disciplined, and persevering. Unconscientious people tend to be more laid back, less orderly, more inconsistent, and less reliable, which I don't think you're any of those things. So that makes sense that you are on the low side of yes, you're conscientious.
Yeah.
I think that tracks.
Yeah, I agree.
Again, I'm in a health and human services field, so I'm hyper vigilant about other people.
Yeah. And sometimes I just I don't have the brain space to do it. That's what
I
it
think
comes
that's
down to.
not a bad thing. This cracks me up because it says they're very prone to guilt. Thus my like 3 a.m. thoughts about something I said to someone 15 years ago.
Yeah, I don't really have that.
Oh, you're fine. So you you are. You can be relaxed, flexible, and non-judgmental, and also sometimes dedicated, reliable, and committed. I think that tracks. They are reasonably concerned with duty and will sometimes work hard without being pushed to do so. And I like this.
So
Okay.
funny.
So again, I'm high in your typical, which tracks. We have somewhat different strategies for dealing with the world. And this again can be beneficial because we can learn from each other. And our traits are fairly balanced, it says, overall in this area. Yeah. I like this. Okay.
That makes sense.
I know.
This is all tracking very well so far.
Oh yeah. Industriousness.
This is the one I have a problem with. You said what?
This made me piss in my pants.
Is this in a bit way or good way?
No, it's just funny. I think this one I attribute to where you are in life of having, your not interest, your energy is pulled in a lot of different directions.
I agree because I'm like, God damn, what? Well,
I
what
scored.
is industriousness mean? Because I
Okay,
didn't know what that
okay.
meant at first.
Simply put, it is the measure of how much a person values hard work and how guilty they feel when they do not meet expectations. People who are high in industriousness tend to finish what they start, adhere to schedules, and feel shame when they fail to meet their obligations. People who are lower in industriousness are more likely to procrastinate, to fall behind on schedules, and do not feel as guilty when they fail to meet their obligations.
That's where I
I
kind of got offended, but I think you're right. I think pre-baby, I would have been higher.
I also do kind of think that you have learned how to overcome your procrastination tendencies.
True. Or I just have stopped letting them bother me.
Yeah,
I
because
don't
I
know.
have a distinct memory of high school. Do you remember our Photoshop project?
Oh my God.
And
Yes.
you didn't want to do it, and then you put it off and put it off and put it off, and then in the last minute we threw something together for you that took like 15 minutes.
It turned out well. I think I got a good grade on it.
I do, well, I don't think that this means you're not productive,
Correct. Yeah.
because you're definitely productive,
But
but
you're
I would,
so high. But it makes sense because you're the type of person who schedules her life and counts her blueberries. Like it's not like that's good. I like this.
I pissed my
But it
pants. I'm
says,
in the first percentile. The part where it says that you feel guilty when you don't meet expectations made me die. And
yeah,
in the longer version of this, they talk about being someone that never sits still.
yeah, I can see that. But you're like a chill gal. But you just
I
like to do
can.
things.
I
Yeah.
do. I'm not doing them out of panic, but I definitely keep moving.
You know, me and Kenny have a saying, we do our best work under pressure. So, like when we hosted the Super Bowl, did we clean the house a week before? No. 3 days before? No. It was the night of and then the day of. And we got it all done and we were really rocking it. But, like, I don't know why we wait. And it's like satisfying to, like, get it all done really fast.
Dude, I think that's because that to me makes so much sense with the procrastination thing because
Yes.
I cannot.
Like, I'll
I
get
will
it
have
done.
like I'll have pre-scheduled out the cleaning tasks for the 2 weeks before so that I don't have to do it all
No,
at
absolutely
once.
not. I feel like it's a game. It's like, how fast can we do it?
Oh, I'm glad you guys have that in common. Oh, it's so funny. This one said that you live to work, which I highly disagree with, but I do live to get things done,
Yeah. Yeah. You can spin it that way. I agree with that.
which I would live to work if my work was my homestead. I would
Right.
very much
Yeah.
enjoy that.
You would do so good at that.
Yeah. But I do also love being productive at work. Like when I can just like punch it, get shit done.
Like really fast.
It's why I think I enjoy jobs that have some aspect of it, like administrative type duties, because they're task work and I can
Mm-hmm.
accomplish them and check them off.
Totally.
Oh, this cracked me up. Okay, let me just see what it says about us. Well, I am high in your typical again. And they say this is really only a slightly different trait, even though the number sounded quite different.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, because I'm high in industriousness, it's easy to manage household responsibilities on time, running errands and appointments. You do so with high efficiency and timelines. This is for sure true of me.
This is like when we're hanging out and I'm like, and you get up to do something productive. And I'm like, Kaylee, can you grab me my water bottle? Or
So
like,
funny.
I'll get it, but you're there. And I don't know. I don't know what that is.
Never bothers me. I like that this says about me that I am likely to adhere to a fairly strict schedule or routine, while my friend, Kayla, will enjoy a bit less structure from time to time. Which is true. I like how they put from time to time, because you still do well with structure and routine, but you're not as anal retentive as I am about it. This says that I'm more likely to be proactive than reactive, but Kayla is more likely to be balanced with reacting and being proactive. Which I think that also sounds right.
I'm just a very balanced, I'm a Libra, man.
Yeah, I'm very unlikely to show up late to an engagement, while my partner might run late from time to time. That is also so accurate.
Literally
Because
this
again,
morning.
it's not always, you're not one of the people that's chronically late, but if you happened to be late, I wouldn't be surprised. But because you still score well, not well, because you still score in the mid for politeness, you would tell someone you were running late.
Correct. This is so funny. It's so
This is
true.
really funny. This is so fun. I've never had so much fun with a personality test. I love that we compared ours.
I
Okay,
know, this is great.
orderliness. Orderliness is a measure of how disturbed a person is by disorder, whether it is by a physical mess or a disorganized schedule. People who are higher in orderliness tend to like cleaning and organizing, to use lists, schedules, and routines. They prefer to control things rather than letting them happen. They are more judgmental in their attitude. Whoops. People who are lower in orderliness tend not to mind messes, and they do not tend to plan their lives in as much detail.
I'm shocked how mid you are. Whoa, I'm higher.
Yeah, so I scored 54th percentile and was typical, and you were high.
Interesting.
Do you know what I think mellowed out my response? Is that I don't mind a physical mess.
I thought you do. I thought the house mess chaos is no. Maybe that's just me. What?
I like my office right now. I don't like things to be dirty, and I'll clean them, but I definitely know in my marriage that Jason gets bothered way before I do. So I think I clean a little bit more just because it's like, well, he'll appreciate it.
Yeah,
I don't not like it, but I can ignore things.
I can see that, and I can compartmentalize it and ignore things. In the back of my head, it's completely stressing me out.
So interesting. Yeah, I this cracked me up.
That's funny.
But when I think about it, like my office, it's not messy, dirty with like dishes and gross stuff, but it's cluttered. Thus my shelves.
But it's
And I
like
have little piles.
organized clutter. It's not
A
like
little
there's
bit.
shit on the floor.
There's
Well,
some.
I
Not
can't
literal
see your
shit,
floor.
just stuff. There's just a lot of stuff. I don't
That's
mind
funny.
it. That my office drives Jason crazy.
It's funny.
Okay. But it is funny. Well, it makes sense that I'm still in the middle because I don't mind the physical mess, but I love a routine.
Yes.
This says about me, I'm not particularly disturbed or disgusted or upset by mess and chaos. I have a normal response to such situations. You may see the world in shades of gray sometimes. That's very true. And sometimes in a black and white manner. You may sometimes be judgmental in your attitude towards others. That is spot on. Well, this says I'm not particularly prone to planning, but that's not real because I'm obsessed. Okay. And then you are high in orderliness, and it says you tend to be disturbed, disgusted by mess and chaos. So you tend to keep things tidy and organized, think more in black and white terms, that things are good and bad, acceptable or unacceptable. Do you think that's true? I don't really see you that way.
It depends. It depends. Sometimes I have strong opinions, and sometimes I'm like, eh.
Yeah. Again, this just says it could present a problem, but not really because our differences really aren't that large. Which they aren't. This is the
No.
closest we've been so far.
That's so funny.
Okay, next is extroversion, and we all know what's coming. Extroverts tend to experience a lot of joy and excitement, particularly in social situations. Extroversion is commonly understood to be a social dimension of personality because social status and interpersonal affiliation are some of the strongest human goals and rewards. Accordingly, extroverts are more likely to enjoy being the center of attention and tend to want to have a lot of people around. Okay. This is hysterical.
It's funny too because it's like if you score high in introversion, you're obviously an introversion, but it's directly correlated with introversion. So if you score low, then you're high in introversion, which is an obvious statement, but I'm glad they clarified that when I was reading it.
Yeah, 1 second. Okay. I scored in the first percentile for extroversion, and you were in the 20th.
Totally. Are we surprised at all? Absolutely
No,
not.
this is exactly what I expected it to be. Okay, so I am obviously an extrovert, which is not a surprise to anyone in the room. People who are high in extroversion make talkative, optimistic, and fun partners. Oh, thank you.
You are.
They are energized by social interactions. This is the most true statement in the world. I'll literally come home like buzzing after a social event. They like to play the role of the speaker. It's definitely true. They don't mind loud, stimulating surroundings. It is not true that I find quiet environments dull, though.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, God. Okay. And then Kayla is low in extroversion, aka also known as an introvert. Typically make calm, quiet, and reserved partners. They need much less stimulation and therefore seek out less social interaction. They will need more time alone because social interactions are draining, prefer one-on-ones to groups, prefer to spend alone time with their partner rather than in a group. and they are often disturbed by loud surroundings.
Disturbed by loud surroundings. If that
Is
ain't the
that not the
truth.
most accurate thing
If
you've ever
that
heard
ain't
about
the
yourself in your
truth.
life? Oh my God.
That's funny.
I need to move through these a little bit more quickly. Enthusiasm. This is defined as a measure of a person's motivation to affiliate with other people, their tendency to show their positive emotion, and whether they seek stimulation and excitement. I can totally see how this goes hand in hand with extroversion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I scored in the 79th percentile and you were in the 53rd.
Okay.
Which that I think that tracks because you
Yeah.
are enthusiastic. It's not like
Yeah.
you're a fuddy-duddy. Okay, this says you will tend to show your feelings on your face 1000% and talk about many different things in a social situation. You will, oh, I remember this. They said these people laugh more than usual. And I find myself sometimes talking to people and laughing loudly, and I'm like, God, I'm so obnoxious.
I've never noticed that because I feel like I'm the one that always laughs a lot. I guess I am 53rd, so I could be in
Yeah,
that boat too.
you're perfect.
Oh my gosh.
So people like you who are typical in enthusiasm have their excitable moments, are sometimes happy, and they are reasonably easy to get to know, but they are essentially moderate in their positive emotion. They will talk about things or they will talk about things to people that they find particularly interesting, but they tend to keep more quiet otherwise, which I think totally tracks. Because if someone brings up sourdough or conspiracy, you're ready to go.
Exactly. I choose my interactions.
Yes, I also think this is so accurate of you. It says that they don't crave the spotlight, they enjoy parties in moderation, and they generally like to be around people, but they can spend time alone.
Perfect.
And
Literally.
then they don't warm up immediately to others, and they can keep their own affairs private.
Yep. That's pretty accurate.
I know, I really liked that. That was very accurate of Kayla Chessman. Okay, assertiveness. This was really not what I was expecting.
I don't remember this one, to be
These
honest. At this point, I was reading my own and I'm like, this is so long.
I was not expecting your result on this. Assertiveness is a measure of a person's motivation to put their ideas forward, influence others, and achieve social status. People who are higher in assertiveness tend to advance their own opinion, and they're sometimes prone to acting impulsively. They're maybe prone to heated arguments, especially if they are disagreeable, which I did not score this. People who are lower tend not to advance their own opinions. They might communicate in a less dramatic fashion. Are not particularly interested in leadership or social status with their communities, but they can still be good leaders. I liked that he put that in there because I think you are a good leader, but I don't know that you necessarily like run to the front of the line.
Yes. Oh, I remember this one. And again, it depends on my circumstance in life. Yes, I was a little sad when I scored so look at you. Look at me. This is the
I
biggest difference, I think,
This
so
is
far.
the largest. I am in the 92nd percentile. When I said dramatic about their opinions, this is so true. I'm so dramatic when I talk.
It's interesting though. I didn't realize you would score that high, and I didn't realize I would score this low.
I didn't either. I don't. Okay. Okay. Let's just see what it says. So I scored 92nd and Kayla scored 12th. I guess it makes sense as an aspect of extroversion.
Yeah. Like I can be assertive again if I need to, but if I don't need to, I will not, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If I'm not passionate about it, I'll just be.
Yeah. I think it's saying like you don't need to be. Okay, so here's what it says about me. I'm likely to want to dominate and control social situations and advance my own opinions. This is the most accurate thing I've read all day. I think I might do this subversively, but that is 1000% true. You're likely to take charge and you excel at acting decisively. I do find this to be true. Okay, anyway. It says that I might be more likely to act impulsively, which it happens when I get excitable about stuff. Okay. Okay. People who are low in assertiveness are not necessarily the take charge type. They put their own opinions forward with reservation and don't try to dominate and control social situations. I do feel like that part is accurate, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Like, I think if there's just like conversation happening in a room, you're just vibing with the conversation.
Yes. I also am in a I don't know what it's gonna continue to say, but when I read it, I was thinking at this moment of my life, again, a lot of things are work related in my brain because we'd spend all day doing that. And because I'm now in a leadership role, because I'm so new in it, I don't feel comfortable asserting my opinion on things because I'm still learning a lot. So I
Yeah.
would be curious if I took this in like a year or two, if this part would change, at least with like my work stuff. because
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, am I in the wrong role? Because but no, it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think this, like this part they said, they don't leap in heedlessly and they tend to allow others to lead the way. They're much less impulsive and they hardly ever act without thinking. I feel like that's probably true in a group setting of you, right? Like you said, you're competent and you're able to take charge and be a leader, which it even said, like they can make good leaders. But I think if there was a group of people and there was like an outcome, we need to get to from point A to B, I think you would be the person that would hang back and analyze the situation
That's extremely valid. Yes.
and like feel it out, see what's going on. And I think between the two of us, I would probably be the one to blather on.
But then you would get us a good foundation of ideas, and then I would sit back and listen
And
and
then
be
you would
like,
reel it the fuck in like you do with our podcast. When we go to space, and then you're like, Kaylee, come back.
which speaking of, we gotta fly through the rest of these.
Okay, let me hurry up. I'm also about to pee my pants. Okay, I'm just going to read through them. The neuroticism, which I guess is a person's propensity toward negative emotion. A neuroticism is a measure of your sensitivity to negative emotions such as pain, guilt, sadness, irritability, anger, fear, and anxiety. I scored 2nd percentile and you scored 64th. So we're both in the mid.
Mm-hmm.
Withdrawal.
Yes.
What?
No, go ahead.
Withdrawal is a measure of a person's tendency to experience negative emotions like sadness, doubt, and worry. I scored in the 1st percentile and you were in the 36th. So we were both pretty normal. Not normal. That's not the right word. We're both kind of in the middle.
But I also feel like we're middle to low. Like we have I don't know, we're less prone to maybe like sadness lingering for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is accurate of us both. You may experience normal levels of anticipatory anxiety from time to time, but that doesn't stop you from doing things. Volatility cracked me up. I scored in the 43rd percentile and you scored in the 84th.
I know,
which is a measure of a person's mood stability and irritability. I think you think you're worse at managing
I do too.
your temper than you actually are, but I'm not surprised that you scored yourself high on that.
I think I would like to be better when I do kind of like get like overstimulated or triggered either with my child or just with I don't know whatever is pissing me off that day, chewing, I don't know, I feel like I'm too quick to react, and so I think I definitely scored higher than I hope is real.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm punching walls. I just am like
yeah. Well, maybe it is also your perception of your ability to like manage.
regulate. Yeah.
But yeah, you're not as well, it's not like you scored in the 100th percentile, but I don't think you're as unregulated as you think you are.
Thanks.
Openness to experience, I scored in the 94th percentile and you scored in the 20th.
I feel like this tracks with the extroversion introversion thing a little bit.
For sure. Like you're just like cool to vibe with what's going on. We are very complimentary in these things, and I just feel like it's why our friendship works so well. And why this works so well for our podcast. Intellect pissed my pants. I scored in the 89th percentile.
Good job.
That's not a good thing.
Is it not?
No, it's just not like good or bad. It just says that you want to talk about complex philosophical discussions.
Yeah. Which I'm a little disturbed by, if we're going to use that word, because I like listening to philosophical things, and I listen to all types of stuff, but I guess I scored really low.
I think this to me was the biggest one, I think, of where you are in life. Because a lot of the questions in the quiz were like, do you want to read long, complicated books? Do you like all of that kind of stuff? I could see you. Yeah. But I think if they would have said, do you want to listen to a complex podcast? You would have said yes.
100%. Yeah.
So maybe it was just like the medium.
So you scored what?
90.
We literally make 100 because I scored 11.
That's so fucking funny. You would notice that.
I'm so
Aesthetics.
Yes.
Well, again, that one I think would definitely come up higher. Or if you redid the quiz and you read everything that talked about a book as a podcast, I think it would be higher.
True.
Aesthetics, which tend to be creative, artistic, and sensitive to beauty. I scored in the 90th percentile and you were in the 57th, which I think that definitely tracks because you are the music lady. And that is the end of our quiz.
Oh my God, just so fun. You guys, you have to take it.
We're going to go, and I will have to put the music in post because otherwise I'll pee in my chair.
Oh my God. Okay, I'll just say love you bye now.
Okay, love you bye. Well, I'll just let it play. You can just hang out and listen to it while I go to the bathroom.
Okay. Okay, well, I know we said the tip of the week last week was taking this quiz, but you should do it again. Like, that's the tip again this week. So go to understandmyself.com. Jordan Peterson, if you're listening and you want to sponsor this podcast or give us a discount code, that would be awesome. But I don't have one for you guys right now, so it's going to be $9.95. But when you take it, you should comment below and let us know what you scored and if you synced up with your partner. It's so fun. Should we do another personality quiz? I'm not behind the other side, so I'm not sure when the music's supposed to drop, so I'll just keep talking. Kaylee, your office background, now that I can see it, totally tracks with the organized chaos back there. But it's so cute. I've never known how long this exit song is. Okay, see you next Tuesday!
Kayla, I was listening the whole time and you did a lovely exit. I don't know where you are.
I'm gonna say bye to Kenny real quick.
Oh, well, you did a beautiful job.
You were listening, huh? I
It
forgot
was
you had your
perfect.
AirPods
I
in.
loved it.
Okay, I'll be right back.